Oh, so OriginOS has finally landed in India and everyone's so hyped about it. Everyone's talking about how awesome it is. But you know what? Time for a reality check. I mean, a lot of people always talk about how FuntouchOS isn't exactly fun. And why? Because, limited customization options, clunky animations, some outdated looking UI elements, some bloatware and recommendations. You know what I'm talking about. So the question is, does this update fix all of that? What is the problem with hitting the subscribe button? How does this compare to something like, OxygenOS 16? Which phone is getting this update and when? You know what? Time to hit that bell icon and time to find out. So first up, let's talk about the UI changes OriginOS brings to see if the software finally matches the good-looking hardware and if they finally fix all the outdated UI elements. Look, first up, the lock screen. And this is definitely one thing that's better. I mean, there's this new clock style option and this clock is resizable. There are lock screen widget options now. You can add countdown and maybe your anniversary to make sure you don't sleep on the sofa. And there's a lot of cool new wallpapers and themes here. I mean, there's OriginOS wallpapers with cool depth effects that look better than what we've seen in FuntouchOS, but the coolest has to be flip cards. I mean, this is super dynamic. I mean, look how it changes and it works even with your own custom photos. So yeah, pretty cool. I also like how you can set the way lock screen notifications show up. I mean, the stack and list, but the count option is nice and minimal and perfect to keep your, lock screen clean and nice. So yes, they've kind of fixed the lock screen. I mean, it's definitely better looking, but there's still a couple of features missing. I mean, full screen AOD is not there. Maybe time remaining for the full charge on the lock screen that we've seen in other phones. But these nitpicks apart, it's definitely better. And they've also updated the notification center and the quick settings, and that's definitely better looking. I mean, you can see the difference side by side. The icons now have a more squircle design, have more color. Just the overall look is definitely more modern, especially with this Pani Shisha wala effect all around, which you also see in a lot more places, by the way. And yeah, this is glassy. I mean, glassy AF. Anyway, this page also has a thicker brightness slider that brings you more options when you hold it. Very, very handy. You also get the volume slider with the ring switch that lets you cycle between ring, vibrate, and silent modes. Even the settings button has moved to the top, so no more swiping twice just to access the settings. And you no longer get a Jovi home icon, which is, sad. Jovi Home is great, really. And then there's this menu which lets you change the user or go to control center settings and choose from a merged or separate notification panel. And this is what the separate quick settings and notification page looks like if you want that iOS look. Now, other visual changes include the recent screen, aka the multitasking screen, which has this new stack style, which is something we've seen, where. The new volume menu also looks way better. The weather app is also improved a bit in terms of visuals. I also like the ability to select apps from the app drawer now, no dragging and dropping apps one by one to the home screen. And you can also make folders now in the app drawer, so good useful changes. And hey, what Android update is complete without some changes to the settings page? Everyone's favorite. And yeah, this is what the new settings page looks like in comparison to the FuntouchOS one. It has this new card layout now, so you see more options. There's updated icons too. I mean, it looks cleaner for sure. Things like the battery section have also improved. I mean, you can now check the battery stats for the past 7 days, and it also shows the screen on time for each one of those days, so handy. Look, all of this is good. It's actually good, but there's one thing that's kind of making me go, I'm talking about the fact that the home screen and the app drawer kind of look same old, same old. I mean, to be honest, I really wanted the dock feature from the Chinese OriginOS. I mean, that's just really cool, but that's not here. And I was hoping for some cool new widgets, but the widgets are also pretty limited still. Yes, there are a few new widgets like this recorder one or, this one or this notes one, but the clock and the weather widgets remain mostly same old, and that's pretty much it. Even the icons remain mostly the same. Sure, there are some minor changes here and there, you'll notice. And you can now resize folders like this, add some color, but the overall look and feel remains mostly very similar to FuntouchOS. And I can tell you, a lot of the looks issues people have with FuntouchOS can be easily fixed with just an icon makeover. So I'm really hoping Vivo's taking notes. Apart from that, I also feel like some of the stock apps in FuntouchOS need a complete UI overhaul. I mean, some apps do have some changes, like check out the phone app. Not a massive difference, but looks better, cleaner. Even the Photos app, you can see better UI elements when doing something like editing a photo. So yeah, some changes here and there. But here too, most of the apps remain same old in terms of design. But again, hopefully Vivo's taking notes. Now moving on to the next big part, I'm talking about animations. I mean, let's face it, OxygenOS 16 or even OxygenOS 15 is kind of hard to beat in terms of smooth, buttery animations. So where does OriginOS stand? Look, first things first, animations definitely for sure feel refined when compared to FuntouchOS. It's not a huge ass difference, but they are smoother, don't look wonky anymore, and there are these little details. When you open the control center, the clock on the left corner smoothly enlarges and blends very well. The stacked recent app menu also feels very smooth compared to, the older tile menu. There's a newer, cooler charging animation, and there are a lot of subtle, better animations in a lot of places across the UI. But the truth is, it's good, but it's not as good as something like OxygenOS, which is like kind of the benchmark right now. So it's good, but you get the idea. And this is kind of the same for haptics too. I mean, it's better now. You can select between crisp and soft options, and there is feedback when you adjust brightness or volume. So it's good, definitely better, but yeah, again, OxygenOS is just on a different level right now. Anyway, OriginOS also does bring some new features to Vivo and iQOO phones, and first up is the Origin Island, which, as the name suggests, is inspired from the movie Shutter Island. Great movie. And yeah, this is probably the best implementation of the island so far. I mean, it has the music player, which works not only with Spotify, but also with YouTube Music, and they've paid a lot of attention to detail here. See, the theme of this area changes to match the cover of the song that's being played, and this island works with apps like the timer, screen recorder, even maps, and I hope we get support for something like Zomato, Uber, and more. But that's not all. See, this has contextual suggestions. So say you copy a phone number that someone shared with you, a create new contact suggestion will pop up in the island. If you copy a URL, it shows you an open URL suggestion. But if you thought that was all, wait, the drag and go feature is actually pretty awesome. Say you copy an address and drag it to the Origin Island, it will display the maps option first. Similarly, if you select and drag a photo, it will show you Instagram, Snapchat, or any other photo sharing apps. Really good if you ask me, but if you don't like the suggestions, you can always just pin apps of your choice. OriginOS also brings private search to Vivo phones in India finally. Global search can now search for images using what's in the image. The Office Kit app brings universal clipboard for both Mac and Windows users, so copy pasting is seamless. And you also get more features like screen mirroring, file transfer, and more. There are also some new thoughtful features like the sleep comfort mode, which gradually changes the screen temperature during the evening so that you can sleep better. And also there's a new motion prompts feature, which is great for people who have motion sickness. Now let's get to the important question. See, one of the problems people have had with FuntouchOS is the plethora, subscribe for fancy words, of notifications that you get from these stock apps, which can be very annoying. You also get some bloatware and recommendations, which are not very nice, especially on higher end phones. And I know we'll get a better idea once a new phone launches with OriginOS built right out of the box. But so far, it's pretty much the same. I mean, we're still getting these notifications from the browser, these from the Themes app, and you still get app and game ads when using something like global search. And I know it's a beta, I know this can be turned off. So I was really hoping Vivo would do better. Look, if you ask me my opinion on the new OriginOS update in India, I'd say it's a good step, a step in the right direction for sure. And it brings a number of good changes, but there are still things to work on. I mean, honestly, I genuinely appreciate some of the new features this brings, like the Origin Island. It's actually really good. I also like some of the visual changes, like the more modern looking lock screen or the better looking notifications and quick settings. A lot of things are more cleaner looking too. So all in all, this does take FuntouchOS and make it better. But also, I was kind of hoping, kind of expecting that this OriginOS update would bring a visual revamp. You know how the icons look, how the widgets look, a more modern design all across the UI and stock apps. But that wasn't to be, so I'm really hoping that now that OriginOS is finally here in India, we'll see a more visual revamp in the next update. Here's hoping. Now I'm sure you're thinking, when will your Vivo or iQOO device get this new OriginOS update? Well, here's the full list. And yeah, I'm just gonna zoom in too to make sure that you get it. And while you are checking out your phone, I mean, I'll just ask you to hit the subscribe button because it's been so long and it's not even funny anymore. Just hit the button, hit the bell icon, do it. Karuna.